Please welcome Andrii Kaplia. He is the development manager at Bioware, and the name of his topic is production pipeline without clogging. Andrii, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Hello, hello. Do you hear
Cool,
me?
cool, cool. Nice to see you here.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, you can start your presentation.
Yes. Okay. So, hello, guys. Yeah, so thanks for introduction. So, my name is Andrew, and I work for BioWare on new AAA game. And today we're going to talk about like production pipeline, where I want to share some tips and what you need to be focused on during production, or if you're planning to enter a lot like production roles and to work in game development. So we will succeed, right? But the main question is when. So production is really hard because a lot of dependencies. No, we always lack of time. We need to add like features and all creative directors ideas in the game, or based on QA the results is or like it can be like everything. So we do need really to find the way we are sure we can deliver the game and we are not out of time. Like usually we can do it like using milestones, like like, and you need to be focused on where you are now, like in your development. Is it pre-production, production, or post-production? Depending on that, your pipeline will be and may be different. So I recommend to use milestones, so you can create kind of a roadmap with deliverables you must deliver, and then you start like plan it with downstreams or upstream teams with dependencies like audio, VFX, lighting, or like level, art, etc. So milestone is a really good way of planning. So it shows how much work do we have. It shows when we have like our key milestones. For example, like critic reviews, or we want to show some part of the game on some conferences, or we want to test the game with testers. And yeah, there is a lot of data, right? A lot of data, like fixed version, when we can like expect the things to be delivered, and what team will work on it, how many like teammates do we like, who do we have, we need to assign all tasks. So use priorities marks. It helps you to work with your production, with your producers, to understand, okay, we have this aim on high level. So our pillar, let's say I work for narrative pillar, our pillar should be focused on that part of the game, and we must deliver it, and we should count in all dependencies we have. And of course, you need to balance your scope and capacity. So I recommend you to use your historical scope and capacity. So how much work your team can burn down, how much work you can like actually do, and always try to update your plans up to those numbers. So be sure that the picture is realistic. Yes, again, we need to track our progress. We use burn down charts. It really helps to see the tendency and forecast our future work. So be sure you can have a look at those. And yeah, we also need to review our work to understand, okay, do we have pitfalls? Do we have gray market work? It means the work which is not in our Jira, which is not counted and not planned. And we need to be sure that, okay, during each session, during each week in milestone, we have bugs, right? So it creates our technical debt. We don't want just to wait until the snowball becomes so big so we don't have enough resources to burn it down, like to melt it down. So be sure that you burn bugs like during your production stage. And the most important thing from my personal experience is data integrity. So it includes like scope, capacity, and actual data. So your scope is the amount of scope you can do during milestone, or you did in like previous milestones. You understand the complexity, you understand what your team is good at, and you understand the dependency for your scope. It means, okay, upstreams are done or not, downstreams are unblocked once your part is done or not. And capacity, as I said, like historical data to see if you are able to complete this amount of work. If not, okay, what kind of best practices you can implement. For example, like guys, we did some work, right? We have some amount of numbers, so we hit like our targets, but we understand that we need to like to improve our planning, to improve our capacity, or to improve working with complexity. So that's where you can start work and find those bottlenecks to provide the solution to your teams. So here you're kind of doing your stewardship. And data, yes, you need to keep your data clean and updated. If you changed fixed version means like, okay, where you are currently sitting on, in which milestone, what week, or what production stage. You should block all blockers to your dependencies, so everyone can track it and everyone sees it work, so it doesn't go to gray market. Yeah, and like I'm telling you about data, how important it is, that you need to keep your data up to date. You need to check your scope and capacity, but good spreadsheets don't make good games. So I just try to say that you need to find the balance between data and between the value, because yes, you can be asked, okay, to deliver, I don't know, the whole level, the whole mission, the whole bunch of cinematics or visual effects this stage, but you can say, okay, we can do that for 100%, but be sure that good numbers, they are not about what you can actually do. So you must have actual picture. And the enrollment process in this pipeline, it's not so hard, I guess. There are like 4 key values from my experience. So first of all, you need to work with production to know your constraints. You need to ask questions. For example, can we push this part of work, like, for example, if your product has different stages of quality depending on which production stage you are. Let's say you have like stood up or functional parts, or you want it already to be shipped in the game. So depending on that, you have the criteria, right? How you check the quality. So work with your production, work with your creative director, ask questions. Okay, can we reduce quality here, or we can't? For example, some VFX are telling the story, right, in your level, in your mission, in your cinematics, so they're like vital, and you cannot cut it off, right? But you don't have enough time to implement those, so you need to ask questions and you need to find the way how you can deal with that. So to do that, you need to understand the pipeline. You must know your team's pipeline, and I recommend you to be sure you are aware of other teams, especially dependencies, which you can influence at. You must understand their pipeline as well. So it will help you to work with the quality. You need to know like your QV checklists. What do they check in each like part of the game, in level, in mission, in conversation, to be sure that all expectations will be met. Then plan capacity, scope, and risk. As I said, it's not only about your team. So you're not focused on your team. You should know what's the capacity of others' teams, what their like historical velocity, and then you can have a little like more realistic picture where you can move on. Solve conflicts. Yeah, by conflicts I understand not just like some quarrels or someone's egos questions. It's more about conflicts when you cannot deliver and unblock downstreams, or upstreams cannot unblock you, so you're idling. It's a really dangerous situation when you start idling. You cannot work, you just waiting. You can fix bugs, but you are not doing progress, and it will reflect in your metrics, it will reflect in your burn down chart, so the picture won't be accurate. But so be sure you can forecast some conflicts, or you can have a look at the review of your previous milestone and adapt. Just talk to people. Just show them like the realistic numbers with waypoints how you're going to solve it. Never come and just say, well, there's numbers, we cannot do this. Okay, propose. And create weekly rhyme. So by weekly rhyme, I mean you have like, for example, vital meetings with downstreams on Mondays. On Wednesdays, you have some production work. On Thursdays, you have work with your car leads. So you can create kind of a rhyme for your team, so they know what do you expect from them on weekly, on daily basis. You can use different types of stand-ups, or you can just update each other in Slack or other like messengers you use. So it's really up to you. I recommend to use a tailoring approach, where you can just grab some techniques and methods which you need exactly now, to be sure that you're not inventing the wheel, but you solve the issues. The good example is like, just imagine the park, and your team must use like the past, like with concrete, right? But then they just become bored and they want to make it faster, so they start walking on the grass. So your work is to put concrete on this new path, right? You don't, if people find the way how they can do it faster and better, so they will tell you. So just be sure you cooperate with production, with producers, right, with core leads, and with your teams and dependencies, so you are aware what's going on. And yeah, another quote is that good plans need time, but bad plans need good people. It means that people have internal resource, right? Don't forget about it. Yeah, making games is hard. We, like, everyone knows about it. So be sure you take care of your people, you take care of data, and you take care of your aims and deliverables you must to deliver. So yeah, again, dependencies, how to solve all those layer issues to be sure that we live in harmony and we don't feel anxiety each day because, okay, we are not aware what's going on. So be sure you plan your activities for dependencies. By activities, I mean you have spreadsheets, you have a Jira structure board where you can see all dependencies for audio, VFX, lighting, level art. It doesn't matter. So you have like the structure board with all data you need to be sure you can monitor your planning. Dependencies is hard to predict because you may be not technical, you don't understand the pipeline, let's say, of final visual effects or audio effects. So just ask questions or go and ask their leads or invite their leads. I prefer to invite leads where we can discuss what's going on and we are sure that everyone is aligned and we understand that guys are working on exactly right things. So we understand what kind of bugs we can expect, when this work is going to be done, and more other things. Monitor them and update on weekly basis. By monitoring them, I mean, if you work like I work with cinematics and I check each scene. I'm trying to check scenes at least like 2 times per week to be sure that regression won't influence the progress. Because if it does, we need to create and open more bugs, link them correctly to right epics, to the right part of work, and start burning it down. So I need to adapt my planning because today my roadmap is accurate, tomorrow is outdated. So be sure you monitor, you have your checklist of things you need to monitor on weekly basis. Be sure you live and work up to your rhyme. Your team understands what this rhyme is and they understand what kind of performance data you're gathering to be sure that they are not frustrating. Track progress, pitfalls, fails, and react facts. So by tracking progress, how I do it, all right? I see on burn down charts, I check tasks, I have daily stand-ups with teams, and I check content, and I play the game. So you can find more things which are already broken in the game or done incorrectly in the game, and be sure that you won't spend like testers' time in future. You can open those bugs and sign them. You do triage with your leads. It's another good way how you can check what's going on with your progress. Just do triage, check what do you have, and be sure that everyone is aware, especially producers, because producers need this info. They are responsible for deliverables. And think in advance. Yeah, just try to think about it like is you're trying to forecast the weather, right? You know, you understand the climate in your team, you understand the issues in your team, you understand what kind of work needs to be done. So you need to feel I don't know, yeah, maybe feel that okay, it's a good way to deal with that or it's not a good way, and ask your team. It's just this simple stuff to do. Just ask your team. So just to summarize this slide, just be sure that you do planning, risk planning, capacity planning, and dependency planning. And once you start doing all these things, you will find, okay, I need that, I need that. Okay, oh, I missed that. And just cooperate with your producer. They are your best friends. And okay, I just discussed on high level what would I do, right, in my production process. But what do we need? How to do that? What you can check, like let's say, like now after this lecture is done on YouTube, and say, oh, okay, I understood what the guy was talking about. So Jira and Confluence. yeah, great tools, because Jira and Confluence, they allow you to work with tasks, to create epics, to link them correctly, to link them to right milestones, and you can actually connect it to your some tool for you use for metrics. For example, Power BI. You can use it, and you can see all your tasks burning down. You can see what's the problem. You can check like your retros. And the good thing is that everyone can see, and everyone can from their point of view say, okay, you see, here you planned it, but it won't work. Oh, okay, thanks for letting me know. So you just start to collaborate with other guys. Spreadsheets, yeah. Spreadsheets, no, Excel is your best friend, because lots of spreadsheets will be during your like in your work routine. So be sure you know how to work with that, how to create roadmaps with Excel, how to write scripts which allow you to work more easily way with your data, because spreadsheets are everywhere. Just a quick tip: you can Google how to use like Excel working with game balancing, or like, I don't know, with mission stuff. So just have a look. Check content and review it with leads. Right. So as I said, you need to check content by yourself. You need to check content with testers, and you need to check content on each quality stage with your leads, or with your production, with your producers, and with your, including your team, for sure. So just check it, because when people gather and they start looking at this work from different angles, more ideas may appear. But be aware of accepting everything. You definitely need to create kind of a funnel where people understand, okay, here's a great idea, it makes sense, but for this quality stage, let's say, we don't want it to be like at our like thing we're going to ship the game. We can make it later. So be sure that you can facilitate this process, because creatives, they're always trying to make it better. They're trying to add more ideas, but be sure that you are working with scope, you are working with some buffer. So, and you need really not to offend people, right? So every idea is idea, and it means a lot, but you definitely need to work with it as well. Keep documentation updated. It's another thing. Yeah, I understand that no one likes to read like huge tones of documentation. So my tip is I use it in a diagram, or some different like pictures, so people can open. Okay, I see it. Boom, close. The good example is, for example, for lighting, where you can have a map. You understand where the lighting is going on now, what the angles of lighting on this part of the map, and then you can see, okay, for example, you have a cinematic somewhere in this part, and you are not sure that the lighting is ready or not ready, or will affect your part of cinematic. So you really want to have a look and understand, okay, is it safe to work on it or not? And your team is everything. Nothing to add here. Your team is everything. Be sure that you work with your team, you have one-on-ones, you're listening to them, you're trying to create flows and facilitate their work on daily basis. So you're kind of a steward for them. You have this umbrella every time in your pocket. When it starts raining, boom, you open your umbrella, your team's safe. So you're this umbrella guy. Yes, and so like two sides of the same coin. What for me personally is important from my experience. You know that you know the data, you know the flows. Flows can help you to work with data. Data will help you to create flows like your team needs. And be sure you have flows. You are not you're not pushed to work on, I mean, like to support, just to do as it says. But flows must facilitate your work, make your life easier. And yeah, just be sure that your time spent with your team should collab the nostalgia, like build common values. Common values is what will allow your team, once the game is done, you can work in different departments. But when you go to other team and start sharing your previous experience, previous values, people may accept it or refuse it because they didn't want to work up to those. Well, then you need to build new one. But it helps you to spread the culture, spread the company culture, like in your company, and just build strong relationship, which is really, really important by maybe like in game development. So yeah, I just highlighted three of them which you can use. which I used to use and using is on a daily basis, is transparency. So let your team know what's going on and let them take responsibility. Just you don't need to push people to say, okay, you must do that, that, that. You have priorities, so people understand. Okay, what is expected to be done? People know where to get like technical documentation. People know where to get assets, so they have everything on the table, like mise en place in French. It means like everything is prepared, so you just need to start cooking. But people need to know, like when they enter your kitchen, they start, okay, where do you have coffee? So when they enter your kitchen, they know where coffee is. Stewardship. You need to help your team create the environment where they can shine. Nothing to add here. And trust. Only trust can allow you to lead the team, but it takes time. So be patient. You have your own legend. You have your own experience. You have your own passion. So just be sure that your team share those values and you have the common view on how it's going on. And yeah, like to sum up my quick lecture, I would say that you definitely need to understand that it's hard to make games. Complexity is really, really, really high, but you don't need to swallow the elephant at once. You need to to cut it into small portions, cook it properly, and then eat it, and let your team know that we will be fed during next milestone in 1 or 2 milestones. More experience you got, more like best practices you can implement. But again, just to sum up, your data is really important, but don't let data do all those like soft skills work and production work, because data is just not data is just numbers. So be sure you know dependencies. I would highlight dependencies because they influence your progress. They influence your production a lot. As an example, let's say if like visual effects are not done, audio won't start their part of work. But you may want this like scene or part of the game, you like already have VFX, I don't know, audio, art to be implemented, like creature art, like monsters, everything like be in, because probably you have some presentation or because you want to send it for critics to review. So yeah, like in general, that's it, I guess. If you want to know more about like production, or you are looking for materials, because I'm not allowed to share you with some examples, but you can definitely Google them, or just reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I would share my knowledge, my some templates, or just guide you where you can find the correct information. So if you have like some questions, I think we have a little bit of time, I can answer them.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Very nice talk. So yeah, actually we have like a couple of questions for you. So the
Uh-huh.
first one is there like a recipe for a perfect standardized production pipeline? I understand that this might be impossible to create like a perfect fit for everything, but if you're working like for similar projects inside one company, is it possible to make it more or less standardized or not?
Well, I would say that standardize and make it perfect is pretty impossible, because each team had their own pipeline and they work how do they like it. But those pipelines I created under one umbrella, which like with the name, we do it in this way. So we do
Mhm.
it in this way. We have weekly rhymes. We have expectations from Carly's. We have expectations from technical side, from other teams. So you can create your own way how you're going to deal with that, but under this umbrella. So that's why I said that you need to understand other teams' pipelines. So once you know them, you would not destroy everything, because okay, that's perfect. Well, perfect is hard to describe, it's hard to determine. You need to know what do you need exactly now to solve your issues to success, and to have like correct and proper velocity, like in capacity. So I would
Mhm.
say just observe, try to find bottlenecks, and propose how you're going to solve those. And if it solves, then everyone would accept it, and it becomes one part of this section of your umbrella, so one part of your standard.
Okay, and what to do with gaps and capacities in other teams? Like, is it worth looking for extra resources for outsourcing or other stuff, like to
Well,
um, complete it? Yeah.
yeah, again, it depends on what kind of studio you are. I mean, AAA, AA. But yeah, there are some techniques in project management, in production, how you can do fast tracking, you can get more resources. But when you got more resources, or you hire new people, or you share some work with outsourced partners, you must understand that they use their own pipeline, and sometimes it's really hard to align all those tracks work to be
Hmm.
sure that they will be delivered at the same time. But yeah, uh, gaps mean that they can mean more like internal issues, like complexity of work, or inappropriate planning, or a lot of bugs, or downtimes of your tools. So there is always things you need to check by using those projections and burn down charts, and work with it to not allow it to happen in your future milestone or in further production. But yeah, in general, you just need to understand your dependencies, your blockers, your main issues with your tools, and just try to understand the complexities, because your people probably don't have enough experience or knowledge to solve those issues now, but maybe in 1 or 2 milestones they could. So
Okay, got it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I don't see any more questions, I guess. But yeah, like you said, feel free to contact Andrei via LinkedIn and ask any questions if you have them.
yeah,
Thanks a lot again for an awesome talk, and we
yeah,
hope to see you during the next conferences as well.
yeah, sure, no problem, we'll see you. Thanks, guys, see
Yeah,
you.
bye bye. See
Yeah,
ya.
bye bye.